Hello, I'm Laura. You'll see and hear me, but my husband will be off on the side. You won't see him, you'll only hear him. I am not a ventriloquist, all right?
I'm the videographer.
Yes. This video will be a follow-up question to a video we posted that I had talked about Michaela, a young girl who had recently passed away. And this question comes from a young lady named Rhonda. Her question, well, a little bit of story first and then her question. Her grandfather always had a stick with him and he would carry it and use it all the time. After he passed, she took the stick and she has this stick or cane, whatever you want to call it, in her bedroom. And there are times when she's at home, and especially when she passes the stick, she'll smell him. So her question is, does that mean my grandfather's trying to connect with me?
She didn't take showers or something?
That's mean. That's just downright mean.
Maybe she smells him.
You know, sometimes people have a nice odor to them. Like my grandma Teresa, she always smelled of like baby powder to me. So it's that kind of a smell. Or my grandfather had the smell of tobacco because he smoked pipes. That kind of thing. So people have an odor from things that they do. Cologne, perfumes.
See, when I say odor, I imagine negative stuff.
Leave it up to my husband to think of the stinky stuff and want to run to the shower.
Because it's odor, like odor,
Okay.
So
is that her grandfather trying to connect with her or communicate with her when she smells his scent?
Why are you asking me? I'm not in the room.
Because you're the one who's got the connection with the other side.
Well, I'll put it this way. I won't answer yes or no to that, right?
Okay.
The way I'll answer that is, you gave some good examples. I know, for example, when I was very young, probably around 5 years old or so, my mom's grandfather, he was known as someone that could communicate with the other side, with spirits, could do things like a lot of, what they say, soothsayers or whatever they're called, could do. And my mom told me that I was always with him when he would do these things. And he told my mom that I also had that special gift, is what he told my mom, actually, when I think about it. And I spent a lot of time with him. And while he would be meeting with people, I'll be sitting in his lap while he's doing his thing. I don't recall ever doing that, but that's what I was told. He always smoked tobacco. He had a pipe, and he always smoked tobacco. Now, he died when I was extremely young. I was maybe 7, 8 years old when he passed away.
Okay.
And to this day, there are times when I think I've told you
we actually had that experience, I think last year, the year before, where we were driving and we both smelled pipe tobacco. Right. And it turned out to be your grandfather.
Right. So to this day, I still have that experience where he'll just come through and let me know he's there. I've had dreams with him where he told me, I'm here, I'm taking care of you. You don't have to worry. And I've told you about those. So to me, it's highly possible because I've had that experience. Michaela came through. You saw that. I think that was the first time you experienced that, right?
No, we'd experienced it before with other souls who came through wanting to communicate with their families.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, I do.
Okay. With the
That's
lights?
why I love this work.
The lights
it's fascinating.
flickering?
Yes, the lights flickering.
Must have been bad bulbs. Bad, like shorts and electricity?
No.
Sure.
Maybe if I remind you, one was a young boy who came through from Korea who wanted to get through to his family.
Right. Oh, yes.
That was an interesting one.
Yes. And another one, like from Illinois.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
I remember now.
Young man from Illinois.
It's the same room, isn't it?
The same living room.
I guess they like that living room.
They do. They just pick different lights to flicker. I guess
right.
When I change the light bulbs, one is easier to flicker than in the other one. I don't know. Maybe that's why the light bulbs burn out so easily in there, because they're messing with them.
Maybe there's a short. That's what's going on. It flickers. We're thinking it's a soul. Okay. We've lost our minds.
Well, I know it's not just us making it up, because you go to the altar and check, and all of a sudden you're told, oh yes, this is the name of the person, this is what they want, this is why they're here.
That is true.
So it's not us making anything, well, in my opinion, it's not us making anything up.
Yeah, that could be very biased. Anyway, so to answer that question, it could be. You know, it could be, and they have different ways of communicating with individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I know of individuals in the past where after their loved ones passed away, I know one, for example, my cousin's wife, you know, when she passed away, she told him, you know, I will make sure the lights, look at the lights outside. I don't know if you remember that. You know, he had
I was
lights.
not privy to be with you with all those conversations.
Oh, where were you?
I don't know.
You're always with me.
You always think I'm with you all the time, and then you talk to me as if I was there, and I wasn't. But yes, most of your conversations with your cousin, I was not there.
Why would I not want you there?
I don't think it's more so that you didn't want me there. It's that I was probably taking care of the kids or doing something else that had to be taken care of.
Okay.
Right.
Because you're always with me.
Yes, how it seems. Yes, that's how it seems.
How it seems? You're always with me. What do you mean how it seems?
I go off and shop. I go pick up the kids and take them places.
Anyway, so I remember her telling him, you know, just look outside, and I always look at that light in the yard. And sure enough, the light would flicker. And she told me exactly how she would do it. I don't recall the details, but I remember that. And there are other things that happen like that, you know.
Well, I know one that I will always remember. Our second youngest daughter.
Okay.
We were at my mom and dad's house, and all of a sudden, she was maybe 8-9 months old. She started crawling, and as if she was following someone, and she was just laughing and as if she was trying to catch something while she was crawling, and she started to go up the stairs, and she continued laughing, and
going up the stairs at 9 months old? Oh.
Yes, she was crawling up the stairs at 8-9 months old.
Really?
Yes.
Your kid or something.
And I was just watching her, making sure she was safe, and I got home and I talked to you about it, and I told you about the experience, and you said, oh, well, it's your Grandma Joan. She's coming through right now. She was playing with her. She was pulling along this little toy dog that kind of waddled on wheels as it moved, and that's what our daughter was trying to catch and play with my grandmother, who had passed on years ago, before our daughter was born.
I remember that now. So they do things.
They do.
But there's no smell there with that one.
No.
You know. But
no.
You're right. They do things, and especially kids will see them for sure. But they'll give different signs. I think you remember this, where folks will come through to their different loved ones and say, even Michaela. Remember when Michaela talked about how she was trying when we went to visit her parents?
Oh yes. She was trying to knock a candle off of this table that they had set up with pictures on it with her.
Like a little altar.
But she wasn't able to knock it over, and my husband was there laughing, saying, yeah, she keeps trying to knock it over, but she hasn't learned how to use energy yet to be able to do that for you, but one day she will.
And then she said, how comes I can't knock this over, right?
Right.
So it was funny because she wanted to give them a sign that she was there.
Right. She even mentioned how she was trying to flicker the lights in the home. And she's saying, why is it so hard to flicker the lights here, but it's so easy to do it in your home?
Right, exactly.
And that's when you had to explain, well, because our home, you know, we always have the frequency is higher because of the angels and the protection we have here.
That's right. So that's a good one. You know, where just because they're there doesn't mean they can do everything. Apparently they have to get to a certain stage before they can do it.
They let us know that they're around all the time. I mean, there was even a time where at our old home, where all of a sudden, it was early in the morning, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, and our third son was awake, and I was downstairs with him, and all of a sudden there was a loud crack against the window. What was that? And I went outside, and we saw this bird on the ground. I thought, well, that's a really pretty bird. I wonder what kind of bird that is.
I didn't see the window.
I didn't see the window. And immediately,
it's like that commercial.
The thought popped into my head, sandpiper.
What's
Sandpiper? Sandpiper's a type of bird.
Oh, okay.
I thought, well, this is interesting. Why would I think of sandpiper? I don't even know if I'd ever heard of a sandpiper. And sure enough, I went into the house, turned on the computer, looked up Sandpiper. That's the exact same kind of bird that flew into the window. So I told my husband about it. I said, do you think because my grandma Teresa was a bird watcher, that she made that bird fly into the window to let me know she was here? And my husband laughed and he said, no, she wouldn't do that to a bird, but she's the one who gave you the thought about what the bird is. I said, oh.
Okay.
So there you go. And that's how it works sometimes.
Yeah, they have different ways to try to get to us. You know, they have, and sometimes we pick up on them. I've had loved ones that came through, and then they say, well, I did this and I did that. Didn't notice. Remember that?
Right.
We've had those as well. And
Right.
because if people are just too busy doing other things that they didn't even notice that their loved ones are trying to get their attention. So the moral of the story is, really pay close attention, because they try their best to get your attention and to let you know that they're there. A lot of them use electronics. Apparently, electronics is an easy way for them to get
Well,
to
I would think that frequency is easier to manipulate
since
it's already
energy.
moving.
Exactly, and that's probably why. Good point. That's probably why. But then smells, they do, especially if they know that you're familiar with the way they smell, or they have certain things that they enjoy. It might be flowers that they love. All of a sudden, you start to see a lot of these flowers.
Flowers. That's like, I know several people who've prayed to Saint Teresa, the Little Flower, and they have said that, they knew that Saint Teresa was around because one lady, she saw a rose petal just fall out of thin air into her lap while she was saying the chaplet to Saint Teresa. Another one said she just got this strong smell of roses around her. And Saint Teresa, for whatever reason, is known for roses, having a connection with roses. So I've heard lots of stories like that when I was younger, growing up in the Catholic Church.
Now, for people that don't know, what's a chaplet?
Oh,
I would think it's a small chapel.
Right, okay, a chaplet, it's a bunch of beads, like maybe between, I've seen them as small as like 5 beads up to like 150 beads. A rosary is one of them. And with a chaplet, every bead, you move your hand over it and you say a prayer on every bead. And usually it's the same prayer over and over, and you might have a focus at one point. But that's what a chaplet is. It's a way of praying a consistent prayer, kind of like chanting, what Buddhist monks do with chanting.
See, I was about to say, it sounds like you're describing chanting.
Right,
because
yes.
they have their beads.
It's the same, similar concept, yes.
So why do we
I
not
used to
like
do that a
Buddhists so
lot.
much? You actually
As
like a Buddhist?
Catholics, I know, right? There's so many similarities. I'm like, whoa, it was mind-blowing for me when I started learning about the Buddhist faith.
Isn't that
I'm like,
something?
literally jaw-dropping. My husband just dropped his jaw. Yes, it was fascinating how similar
Maybe
they are.
you're down there and you don't realize it. They say if you don't do Catholic stuff, you go down there. How do you know you're really on Earth right now?
Okay, that's a topic for another video.
You're talking about Buddhists.
I've heard many people describe Earth as being in hell already, or being in a place of purgatory already. So that's an interesting concept you bring up there. Interesting thought.
So those similarities, I don't know. But you see, right? And the decreeing, the same thing, right? What's the difference? Praying, you do something slowly.
Right.
You take your time, Thank you for taking care of my family. Thank you for all the blessings of abundance. See, that's the other thing. If you say abundance, what does it include? Everything, right? Happiness, the material things.
We're getting off topic now, right?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you have that, and then when you chant, you're saying the same thing. Like you could be saying the same thing, except now, because when you pray, like you say rosary, you're repeating things.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And when you chant, you're doing the same thing, except now it's at a faster rate, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And there's a rhythm to it. And see, the secret is that the rhythm creates that connection faster, and it's a stronger connection compared to praying where there's not a rhythm.
I see.
That's when they say the rosary gives you a rhythm. They say, so there's more power behind it. Someone even mentioned, I don't know how accurate this is, someone even mentioned to me years ago that the challenge about praying, and this way they put it, I don't know how accurate this is, that when you pray, you have energy, right? Energy takes everything up to where it's supposed to go.
Right.
Heaven, Supreme Being, God. When you pray, the energy is there. When you chant, it has stronger energy to get your prayer where it's supposed to go, so it goes faster. And I don't know if you were joking when he said this, but he said, so when you pray, because the energy is not that strong,
Right.
those guys from the dark side can hijack your prayer, and it doesn't get to where it's supposed to go.
Ooh. What a concept.
Think about that, right? And then decrees go even faster. You have slower decrees like chanting,
Right.
and then the decrees have even faster
Yes.
momentum,
Faster pace.
right? And
Those are
so
fun
they go
for me.
really fast. So those are harder to hijack.
Take over.
Exactly. And that's the way he described it to me. I hope that gives people
A picture
a picture,
of
right?
what
A visual.
of what it looks like.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. So that's the difference between, but they all work. One just moves slower than the other one because of the energy that's behind it.
Got it.
You know, it would be like a bullet from a gun, and then you have a cannon, and then you have a rocket.
Which
Does that
one
make sense?
has more impact?
Exactly.
Got it. Makes sense to me.
All right. So what was the question?
It was her grandfather trying to
right.
connect with her.
So now, how did that tie in?
Right.
is
Yes,
the point.
exactly.
So let's say, for example, because you can talk to your loved ones. You might not hear them because you're not at that frequency yet, right?
I talk to them all the time.
Exactly.
I keep waiting for them to answer.
No, but see, the thing is, they do answer, and you might get that answer if you're really paying attention. You might get that answer through somebody else.
I do.
See?
I do get the
And
answers.
that's the way it works. All of a sudden, you turn the television on, and they're talking about the same thing that you ask a question about.
Right.
And they're answering it that way. So they have ways to answer you. You just have to pay attention. Now, so you can pray to ask them for help or guidance, or to thank them, more like thank them for. No, but you could say, like, whomever asked the question, they said, "Grandfather, thank you for showing me how to be a better cook. I know who that is, and I know she can't cook. So I have to be a better cook, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, grandfather, she starts to see cookbooks, and then she wants to watch certain cooking shows.
Okay.
See, and that's how it works. And why do I want to watch cooking shows? Because grandpa said you should watch them, and that's how they guide you.
Right.
Now, so you could pray and do that, or you can chant it, or you could decree it, and then see which one comes faster, which one gives you the result faster. That's what I want to say. And the same thing with if you're praying for something, try to say it at a faster pace and see what happens. Because the faster you say it, while you can still visualize it, you'll see that the response time seems to be quicker.
Okay.
Because the energy is the frequency is shorter, so it moves faster.
Okay. That sounds good to me. I hope this answers your question, Rhonda. If anyone else has any other comments, questions, or experiences they'd like to share with us, please be sure to comment. You can either do it here through YouTube, or you can do it on the Facebook page, which is, the group, Clearing, Healing, and Guidance. Otherwise, we will see you in the next video.